So, and now we're on to the session where we have reactions and discussions. And I know we kind of run over time, so we may be running. I see there's been some chat. There's been some chat in the chat box, and those questions have been responded to. But before we start, I think my colleague Sirpa Pietikäinen is with us, and she wanted to would like to have an intervention. She's there with us. I'm not sure.
Yes,
I'm great. I hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
And very briefly, because I'm very aware of the time. Firstly, I would like to thank you all the speakers. This has been very excellent session to look from different perspectives, the data aspect. And a suggestion for all of us to consider is that, first of all, our priority is to push this European data space all in all together forward. And then to have a special section there about, I prefer to call them memory disabling diseases, and how this can be better enhanced, and to ensure that all of our member states are included, because that is a bit of alarming information that it is so devised, the situation at the moment, which countries are actively involved and which are not. Then my second point actually would be that it needs to be patient-centered or person-centered or beneficiary-centered, whatever you would like to call it. And that would need to be taken into account on the majority of research designs already. So the question, what is the direct benefit? And of course, it's a bit different if you talk about medicine, but then I think that the data should be used much more. We saw in previous presentations some of the examples about the social benefits and the needs of people needing the care. Last but not least, in this aspect, I would urge to have this kind of a bottom-up instead of a top-down design, especially when we talk about the quality of the care and the needs of the care in the future. That means accessibility, that means understanding the true needs of the beneficiaries, and that needs the development of the indicators also, so that we can ensure the relevance and comparability of the data. Well, a lot of other thoughts also, but for the sake of time, I would like to stop now. Thank you.
Thank you. Great, Sirpa, thank you, and good to see you and hear from you. And I know you have a keen interest in this area, and I absolutely agree with you. The European data space, we need to work on that and make sure it fulfills its ambitions. I don't know if we've any particular reaction to the panelists. There was a lot of information there, and I'm sure you'd all be reacting again, and we'll have plenty of comments and discussions. There's a lot to pour over and to analyze. Have any particular reaction and questions? I think our chat room has been addressed, the comments there. Because if not, I'd like to call on Eva Homer, the chairperson of Alzheimer's Europe, to speak to us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Hello.
People appear from everywhere. Ah, there you are. Hello, nice to see you.
Hello, nice to see you again. And
thank you.
Yes, I would like to thank you very much for having invited this and hosted this meeting. And
sorry.
Yes, it was a virtual one, but I think it was very useful one, and we really learned a lot. And yeah, I think that Bill Gates said that data, it is, as you already mentioned, tremendously powerful tool, and we saw it already in medicine many years ago, starting with 80s in Cochrane collaboration, that meta-analysis of studies is much more powerful than a single study. And of course, this development went on, and it is incredible that it is nearly half century from these first initiatives. And the situation now is much more complex. And yes, this data sharing and exchange of information makes research really really much more powerful, and that is what we need. So I would like to appreciate very much your chairmanship, your hosting the meeting, and especially I would like to thank very much to all our speakers for their really very exciting presentations. Yes, and it is very important that we also heard about the forthcoming programs, including EU for Health, European Health Union, and Horizon Europe, and etc. etc. I think it's very important also for Alzheimer's or dementia research. And yes, I look forward to further work being done in this area and to the next meeting workshop, which will take place virtually in June 2021. So thanks very much to everybody, and thank you, especially Deirdre.
Thank you, Eva. Nice to see you. Thanks for your contribution. And Petra, Richard, you're going to give a summary as well, closing remarks.
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
We have heard excellent contributions. Very inspiring points have been made, and I would like to repeat some of these points that have been made. So one central question that was raised was, how can we make data exchange, sharing data more efficient? And there were actually a couple of proposals. One was that we need more centralized platforms where the data are kept secure and can be accessed. On the other hand, we know that there is not a single project that has the funds to really serve such a central platform. There are distributed funding sources. And the other key idea was to have more interoperability between the platforms, the research infrastructures that are being developed. But this is also challenging, of course, because this needs a lot of collaboration and agreement, how the architectures become similar between these platforms. And it also requires a lot of transparency between the different projects. But probably this is a good way to go to try to get the platforms, the research infrastructures more interoperable. Another point that was raised was how can we measure success in health data research? And I think this is also very important, a very important point raised by Pavel Svoboda. We need to have metrics in order to measure what is really efficient health data research and what is not. And this also needs a rethinking of how to measure success. Another point made was by Angela, how can we get more guidance? So the researchers in this very important report were complaining that they have insufficient guidance. So the situation is complex with personal data and GDPR. And there is the will to share data in general, but then the hurdles are still very high. And I think there was foreseen by, when GDPR was written, to have certifying entities in Europe and in the countries. And such certification entities would tremendously help to bring clarity about whether an infrastructure, research infrastructure, fulfills basic GDPR principles of data protection. So this would be something to consider for the future to push forwards.
Very good.
I think these were some of the points. There were many more excellent thoughts and ideas. I think the report that was presented by Angela Braccio is really excellent, contains an enormous amount of very useful and valuable information that needs to be further considered, and I think that can guide our way forwards. So I would like to take the opportunity to thank Angela and Jean-Georges very much for organizing this, for bringing out this excellent report. I also would like to thank the European Parliament and the members of the European Parliament, Deirdre, Clune, and Tsvetelina Penkova for hosting this workshop. Thank you very much. And of course, I would like to thank all the speakers for their really inspiring and excellent contributions, and the participants for the discussions, for the questions raised that are very important and that foster further discussion and exchange. And I hope very much that in the not too far future, we can come together again and continue with exchanging our thoughts on this very important topic, how to foster the exchange of sensitive health data to help to find diagnosis and treatment for Alzheimer's disease and other neurodegenerative diseases, I think so one name for this was memory impairing diseases, if I remember correctly, and I think that is a very nice term. So thanks again, everybody, and I hope to see you soon again and be in touch.
Very good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Petra. Thank you, everybody, and particularly thank you to the speakers. There's been most interesting, very informed, put a lot of work into it. There's a lot of information there, and we look forward to working again, and particularly with Alzheimer's Europe, to thank them for their report, for bringing it together, for launching, Angela for her wonderful presentation today. There is a lot in it and a lot to go forward with. So I'd also like to thank my MEP colleagues for being with us, and we're very happy to host and very happy to be involved and to do what we can to advance. I think there's certainly a lot of not questions, but an area in terms of data that we can advance further there, and we can put a lot of pressure. I'm thinking of the data strategy that's going to be announced shortly by the Commission and the Data Governance Act. So there's a lot where we can have an input, and today has been very important in informing us. So without further ado, I think we have almost reached our time. I'm sure we'll be back again with many questions. Again, thank your speakers. They've particularly been very informative, giving their time generously to us this afternoon. And I look forward to the meeting, as has been said, the meeting again virtually in June. But I think virtually does allow us to come together and to share a lot of information and go away with some food for thought and some plan of action, I hope. So thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.